Hello. So I wanted to come back here with some more thoughts that I have about light and darkness and compassion. So I was pulling some cards and I kept Kuan Yin, the goddess Kuan Yin, who in this goddess deck, goddess power, she talks about compassion. And the question that they asked was, what would kindness do? What would kindness do? Yeah, I think something like that. And I was thinking about a kinder world, and then I got light. And because I've been such a huge advocate for darkness, I've been kind of neglecting thoughts about light because I don't know, I just felt uncomfortable. I guess I felt very passionately, like I've got to bring justice to darkness, that I haven't given myself an opportunity to also explore the realms of light. So light came out as well as all these other cards. So I was thinking about like what I had talked about in the earlier video about orgasmic energy, and I was thinking about light, and I was thinking about what it meant to become enlightened. Like, why is light the word that we use? And I thought about how, when you are becoming enlightened, it's because you are like reading the dark. It's like you are finally seeing the dark. You're seeing the darkness, and not just as the dark, but you're seeing like the humanity in the darkness. And I'm using humanity in a way that goes beyond human beings. Like, it's the same context as when you're saying, see somebody's humanity. Don't just see them as like, nothing, as like an object or something. See their humanity. So I'm using it in that context, but we're not talking just about human beings. So whatever the humanity of darkness would be, see darkness as humanity. So when you're becoming enlightened, I think that you are beginning to see the humanity in the darkness, rather than just making it like a monolith and making it this like inanimate thing that is just there and is either like a burden to you, something that is taking from you, something that is making your life harder. Instead, you're beginning to see darkness and see not only seeing it for what it has to offer you, but for how you can build together, how you can grow together, how you can transform together and become something new, how you can evolve into something new, and how you can learn from one another and confirm each other's experiences and begin to create community. Becoming enlightened is like almost like coming out of isolation, but like out of isolation from the darkness. Now seeing the darkness as a communal space, as a public space, as a loving space, as a space to connect, rather than a space to be a space for loneliness and lostness. Or maybe you are lost, but lost in the way that you are wandering, that you are on an adventure, that you are exploring, rather than lost in a way that you are, not belonging, right? It's kind of like the hermit. When you get the hermit card, it talks about solitude and kind of being alone, but you're alone with yourself. You're alone with the darkness. You're alone with your thoughts. You're alone with spirit. You're alone with all of these new, ideas and creative energy. And you're not alone. You're just separated maybe from other people. So from people that you align more closely with because you can see yourself immediately in them. You have to look a little bit harder to see yourself in darkness. So it is more expansive, and it's more loving, it's more compassionate. When you become enlightened, you become more compassionate, because then you are able to see the life and see yourself in all things, in everything, and see the importance, the value, the humanity in all things, rather than just yourself or just what you immediately identify as connected to you and therefore deserving of acknowledgement. And in doing so, I think that is what helps with the soul retrieval process, because so many parts of ourselves get lost, especially because we consider them to be not good enough or not belonging anymore because they represent a part of ourselves that maybe we feel uncomfortable with or we didn't like so much, or they reflect experiences or moments from our lives that we didn't like, or just things that we wanted to change, and now that we've changed them, we're like, okay, that's no longer who I am. But when you look into the dark and you see yourself and you create a community with darkness, you can more easily, I guess, like retrieve those parts of yourself that are existing in the darkness. You know, you're seeing the parts of yourself that you thought you weren't anymore and recognizing that those parts are still you, but from a heart-centered place, from a kind place, from a compassionate place. It's like the heart-centered experience. Like, we want to create a kinder world for everything and everyone to exist within. We don't need to create a perfect world. We need to create a kinder place. I don't believe that spirit is perfect, but I do believe that spirit is kind, and does things out of kindness. So I don't believe that they're ever trying to punish or hurt you. I think they're trying to teach lessons, and I think that some of the systems that we have are just not great. But that's why we're trying to create a kinder system, a kinder way of incarnating, a kinder way of existing in the world, kinder ways of existing with, co-creating with Earth, taking care of our planet. We want to be kinder to each other because we're not erasing the experiences of trauma. You know, we're not erasing the things that we consider low vibrational, or bad, or things like that. But we are trying to create a kinder way of living. And so naturally, some things might fall away. If you want to create a kinder life for all people, you know, certain traumas don't need to happen. People don't need to experience sexual assault. I am a survivor. If I could, I would go back, you know, and not experience that. So, you know, that's a kinder world. So that's something that would go away, that would fall away. Sexual trauma, that's not something that needs to happen. That's not just, you know, like a part of life. That is because we are in an unkind energy, an uncompassionate energy, because we can't see the humanity in others and in ourselves. And so we take to try and find that fulfillment, because there's a lot of lostness and emptiness happening, which is the traumatic associations with darkness, the traumatic associations with death and low vibrational energies. But when we operate and try and create more of a more kind world, things like that might fall away. I would hope that things like that fall away. And if everybody, and the thing is, we don't all need to be doing the same thing. We don't all need to even believe in the same things. But if you are genuinely, authentically operating from a kind place, kindness for everyone, and it's not kind if it's just for people that you like, right? It's kindness from everyone. So that type of universal love. If you're operating from that place, you can have different ideas from somebody else. You can believe that a different system works better. But naturally, because it's from a kind place, it's going to be helping everyone, or at least the people it needs to help. And somebody else will create a different system that helps other people's that maybe your system doesn't help. But either way, it doesn't take away from someone else. It doesn't hurt other people. It doesn't exist and grow and profit off of the oppression and the trauma of other people, the disenfranchisement of others. So that's a kind way of existing. Like, if all politicians were kind, then I think that it wouldn't really matter where you were lying on the spectrum. And the spectrum, even that idea of the spectrum, it wouldn't be as difficult as it is right now, because everybody would be kind, so everybody would be operating from their heart space, from and a universal love for everyone. And so we would have different ideas, which is important. We need a diversity of ideas. We don't all want to think the same, but nobody would be actively being hurt in order to uplift one idea. You know what I mean? They could just coexist, which is really how I think it should be. I think people should be able to make a decision over what kind of lives they want to live, but we shouldn't have to hurt each other in order to validate those existences. It's kind of like the Roe v. Wade conversation that's happening right now. When I'm somebody who is pro-choice, and I am somebody who I don't think I personally would be able to get an abortion, because I just don't know if I could do it. But I believe that everybody deserves a choice. And I believe that there's nothing immoral or unethical or corrupt about women and people who make the choice to get an abortion. And I don't think that, it is, I don't think it's taking away a life. I don't think that at all. I think that it's everybody's individual decision. And I think that, I don't think that we should be infringing on people's autonomy, I guess, bodily autonomy. So I'm pro-choice, but I can understand. I think that anyways, this is off subject. This is off target of what I wanted to talk about. But the point is that if you're operating from a kind place, I don't think abortion would be as big of an issue as it is. Oh, I just saw 11:11. I don't think it would be as big of an issue as it is, because you wouldn't feel the need to, hurt somebody else, take away somebody else's liberties and rights and protections in order to uplift your own. That wouldn't be your cause. And with people who are advocating for the removal of abortions, you're actively hurting people, versus if you're advocating for everybody to have access to different forms of birth control, including abortions, you're providing more space. I don't think there should be shame around people who choose not to get an abortion, and I don't think there should be shame around people who choose to get abortions. It doesn't make sense to shame anybody. It's like an incredibly difficult decision to make. But being pregnant and giving birth and raising a child is also an incredibly difficult decision to make, and it's a lifelong decision to make. And it's not something that you should have to be bound to if you don't want to be. It's just what I believe. Like, we've come to there's a reason for evolution, and there's a reason why we grow in our technology and we are advancing. We needed these things to be created. We needed birth control to be created. We needed, different systems like that to be put into place. It's what's helped us. It's given more liberties. It's protected people. It's ensured safety. So it's ensured safer births and better lives for children who are born, because then your parents can have you when they're ready, and they can raise you from a healthy mindset where it's not resentment based. They weren't forced. It's not a traumatic experience. You can be healthy. It makes for a better life. And if you don't want to participate in that, you do not have to. But it's not okay to take that away from somebody else just because of your personal beliefs. So that's what I mean when I say operating from a kind place. And kindness is needed in every aspect. So if somebody is, having a certain view because of their spiritual beliefs or political beliefs or past traumatic experiences, you have to be kind. Oh my God, there's a little bunny just looking at me. Hold on. I don't even know if you can see them. Oh, you probably can't. That is so funny. There's just a little bunny just chilling there. I didn't even notice them. Yeah. What was I saying? I don't remember. Anyways, yeah, let's operate from a kind place. And that means being able to see the humanity in everyone, and making decisions that see the humanity in people, that see the humanity in others, and that are liberating forces. We are always about freedom and always about love and care. How do we take care of each other? We all have different ways of taking care of each other. But, oh my God, there's 2 bunnies. Oh, I can't. There's 2 little bunnies. we all have different ways of taking care of each other. We all have different ideas around that. We all parent different. We all love differently, different love languages. But when you're doing it from a kind place, from a compassionate place, then that diversity is celebrated. It's important and it's needed, because then we can learn from each other. We have options. We can go different places, have different experiences. I don't want to live in a world where we are all like same decisions, same mindset, same everything. That's not good. I don't want that at all. I want a diversity of thoughts and systems and, experiences. I just want it to be from a kind place, from a loving place, compassionate place. So when we put our hearts at the center of things, I think it makes things a lot easier. And that goes for rage and anger too. Put your heart at the center of your anger and use that as your radical revolutionary force, Make those decisions that are, that feel, what am I trying to say? Fighting is not, like, you are allowed to fight for what you believe in. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to scream. You're allowed to protest. You're allowed to do all of these things that are radical and that bring about liberation and that others might deem as violent and all of these things. When you're doing it from a heart-centered place, and from a place of caring for others, taking care of others and taking care of yourself, and seeing the humanity in others, and wanting best for the world, best for other people. I'm not going to be one of those people. I mean, I think that everybody, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I guess I'm thinking about revolutions of the past, like, because of the world we live in and the energies that we are operating against, sometimes violent action is what's needed in order to free yourself. So I would never be like, there the bunny goes. I would never be like, violent wars are not important. They're necessary because there was violence in the first place, right? So as a reaction, when you are trying to create a kinder world in general, to me it makes sense. I guess I'm going all over the place now. My thoughts are kind of scrambled. It's really hot and I'm so happy to see some bunnies. But yeah, my main point was that we want to be operating from a kind place, which I guess it's not a radical point. It's just something I was noticing as I was looking at the cards that I pulled. And that healing, all of your joy and all of your experiences of light are informed by darkness. Your ascension is informed by your experiences below you, the experiences below you, the dimensions below you. When you are ascending, it's the dimensions that were below that inform, that help carry you, that help uplift you. All of that can be seen as darkness. So when you're joyful and you're laughing and you're happy and you are when you're grateful, your gratitude comes from an understanding of darkness as well. It comes from that understanding of healing. Oh, I just saw 444. All of that is darkness. So you see, the darkness is not always, in the most extreme form, darkness is bad, right? Because extremes just don't make sense. They don't work. We need balance. But in a balanced way, darkness is really fundamental to your joy. It's fundamental to light. And light is fundamental to darkness. In order to see the darkness and see where you are, see if you are in the dark, you have to have light. And light comes through that vision. So light is that like third eye energy. Light is, being creative and imaginative in the dark. It's a blending of the two. It's like maybe like a gray, something like that. But you see the different ways that like darkness and light are complex in their meaning and definitions and things like that. It's really cool, and I think I maybe need to spend some more time finding all of the complex ways that light works with darkness because right now I've been like really heavily in the like free the dark. But yeah, I just want to work on that as well. Yeah. And like even like darkness is being grounded as well, rather than being focused so heavily on the future. Darkness is grounding, right? Darkness, light is accepting the past. Light is seeing and accepting your past and integrating your past, not just your past in this life, but your past lives. Accepting all of it so that you can be wholly yourself, so that you can operate from an informed place, from a place that is self-aware. That is light. That is the energy of light as well. And darkness is the energy of letting go of the future and being in the present. That's darkness energy. So you see how they're like, it's not just, I don't know, it's cool, it's complex, it's complicated, but it's interesting. Yeah. And your inexperience, like your naiveness is your like, it's your truth, and it is what assures your growth, because that you needing to grow means that there's room, means that there's space. If you don't need to grow anymore, it's kind of like you are being suffocated by your own, because there's no more potential left. And that potential is like a gem. Potential is like the orgasmic energy that brings everything into creation. It's really important. And I would say that potential is darkness. Yeah, I would say that potential is darkness and inexperience is darkness. That's darkness energy. Yeah. Seeing the potential and doing something with it is light energy. So darkness is the divine feminine and light energy is the divine masculine, you could say. You could definitely say. And it works together. And they need each other. Water, I would say, is darkness. Yeah. And the choice to look into water, to drink from it, to see it, to heal with it is light energy. You see what I mean? So they're all, it's like back and forth. I'm just looking at the cards. Yeah, transformation is dark energy, miracles are light energy. And I'm using darkness and light, and I know that it's forming like a binary, but as I've said before, I believe that everything is a community experience. So I don't even believe in just two, When I say a mirror, it's like, what is it like when you refract something? So then you like, is it refraction? Is that the right word? So that you're seeing like all these different like glimpses of things. For a mirror, I'm not just talking about these two visions. I mean, like, it's a whole, it's like a disco ball. It's like a mirror ball. So yeah, it's not just two. So I'm just using darkness and light, or life and death, all these things, but it's more than that. It's not just the two. And same with divine feminine, divine masculine. It's not just, we don't believe in binaries. We don't need binaries. It's better to have it be more complicated, I think. Leaves more room. Yeah. And I think a kind way of existing is moving out of the binary. So it's a kinder existence for all of us. We all just get to be more truly aligned with who we actually are. So I think I'm going to call it on this video. I just wanted to share these thoughts. So thanks. Bye.